a bug. They're everywhere, Dee Dee wailed. They're like little puppies with 8 legs. Puppies don't leave red itchy bite marks, Dee Dee, Mona said, reaching for a shoe. In the midst of the spider crisis, a savior appeared. His name was Brian. He was the exterminator, but he didn't look like any bug killer Mona had ever seen. He was tall, handsome, and possessed a voice that made Mona forget she hadn't had a date in 8 months. "Hello," Brian said, stepping into the apartment. Mona felt a jolt. This was it. The spark. The connection. They talked about music, about Jamiroquai and Nappy Roots. He was perfect. He was everything she wanted in a man. And then he saw Dee Dee. Dee Dee, despite her fear of spiders, managed to look like a model in a shampoo commercial even when she was terrified. Brian's eyes lingered just a second too long on the younger Thorne sister. "So, about those spiders," Brian said, his focus shifting. The next few days were a blur of jealousy for Mona. She watched as Dee Dee prepared for a date with Brian. She listened to Phyllis's warnings that Dee Dee would steal her man, just like her mother had stolen Charles. But then the unexpected happened. The date was a disaster. Dee Dee returned to the building, looking dejected. "We didn't connect," she told Mona and Spencer. All he talked about was alternative music and kickboxing. He seemed preoccupied with sex. Mona's heart soared, because he had everything in common with me. The realization hit them both. Brian wasn't Dee Dee's type. He was Mona's. In a rare moment of sisterly vulnerability, Dee Dee admitted that she had only moved into the building to be close to Mona. She didn't want to steal her life. She wanted to be a part of it. "I chose to be with my sister," Dee Dee said softly. "That's sick," Mona replied, though a small smile played on her lips, and twisted, and maybe even a little smart. They shared a carton of ice cream, to spoons, and a hesitant truce. For the first time in their lives, the daughters of Charles Thorne weren't just competing for space, they were sharing it. Chapter 3, The Ghost of Acapulco. The truce was tested when the subject of their fathers and mothers came up. Phyllis Thorne had raised Mona on a steady diet of resentment. The story of the Acapulco flight was the foundation of Mona's worldview. It was the reason she felt second best. But as the sisters spent more time together, the stories started to clash. "My mother was never a stewardess," Dee Dee said one afternoon while they were planning a joint birthday party. "She's never worked a day in her life. She met Daddy at a real estate seminar." Mona laughed. "Dee Dee, I've heard the story 1,000 times. The peanuts, the bathroom, the friendly skies." "Mona, Daddy is allergic to peanuts," Dee Dee pointed out. The silence that followed was heavy. Mona looked at her sister, searching for a lie. But all she found was confusion. The foundation of Mona's life, the reason for her mother's bitterness, and her own sense of displacement began to crack. She confronted Phyllis that night. "Ma, I need the truth. Treatment room style. Did Big Dee really steal Dad on a plane? Phyllis sighed, the dramatic mask she always wore finally slipping. It was more dignified to say someone stole him, she admitted. The truth was, we argued. I pushed him to get a real job, to stop chasing his real estate dream. And one day, he just went out for a walk and didn't come back. Mona felt a coldness settle in her chest. You lied to me for 23 years. You let me hate Dee Dee and her mother for something they didn't even do. I wanted to protect you, Phyllis whispered, and myself. The revelation was a turning point. Mona realized that the Thorn rivalry wasn't a fate handed down by the gods. It was a narrative constructed by a hurt woman. She didn't have to be the Raggedy Ann doll anymore. She could just be Mona. Chapter 4: The Music Video and the Secret. Work at Delicious Records was a chaotic whirlwind of ego and bass lines. Mona's career was on the line with the latest video shoot for Dante, a platinum-selling artist with a temper as big as his fan base. If this shoot goes south, her boss warned, you'll be sorting M and Ms for a living. Dante was a nightmare. He refused to come out of his dressing room. He hated the director. He hated the song he wrote. He was, in Spencer's words, totally whack. Desperate, Mona brought in her secret weapon, Dee Dee. Dee Dee's law school power suits and natural charm had a strange effect on Dante. He listened to her. He followed her lead. He even agreed to go to Cancun with her after the shoot. You're pimping your sister, Spencer hissed at Mona on the set. I'm pimping the half that's not related, Mona joked, though the guilt was eating at her. She was worried about Dee Dee. Dante had a reputation as a player, a Don Juan who left a trail of broken hearts. Mona decided to save her sister. She burst into Dandy's dressing room, ready to deliver a speech about sisterly protection and moral boundaries. Dante, don't you touch her, Mona shouted. The door opened, but it wasn't a scene of debauchery. It was just Dee Dee, looking perfectly composed. Mona, calm down, Dee Dee said. I won't calm down. He's taking you to Cancun. He's going to take advantage of you. Dee Dee pulled Mona aside. Mona, Dante is gay. Mona froze. Gay, as in Pottery Barn on a Saturday morning. Dee Dee nodded. He needs me as a beard to keep up his image. In exchange, I get a free trip to Cancun and a new best friend who knows more about skincare than I do. Mona felt a wave of relief, followed by a surge of pride. Her little sister wasn't as naive as she thought. Dee Dee was savvy, discreet, and surprisingly tough. As the video shoot wrapped and Dandy's Seat on My Love blared through the speakers, the two sisters stood together on the set. They were different in every way, different mothers, different styles, different perspectives, but they were finally, undeniably, family. Want to dance? Dee Dee asked. Mona looked at the flashing lights, the beautiful people, and her sister's beaming face.